Good morning, good day, good afternoon, and hello somewhere over the world, over the rainbow. We welcome you to another edition of Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. This show was originally created from one of more than 300 motivational quotes I had created for the contents of my book. Curious, after years of studying human behavior, I always wondered how words or quotes landed on other people. So, we created this show. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We toss out a quote, and based on our interpretation and perspective, we give our feedback on it. Each week, someone brings in a quote. Sometimes it's by someone famous. Sometimes it's someone that we don't remember where the quote comes from. Or sometimes they're quotes that maybe one of us have used and created and claimed for our own. I personally believe the 300 quotes that I have come from the Bible. I can't recite one phrase from the Bible, whatever, but I don't think anyone has anything original. It's the person that acts on it that makes it original. So with that said, I am your host, Kevin McLemore, and I am joined with my co-hosts, Christopher and Gilda James, Andrea Lyman, Chris Everett, the famous Chris Everett. We all know her, and some of you guys may be shocked and whatever, and goes, oh, I thought she was. Let it. All right. The voice, Mr. Otis Spencer. And so today we bring you a quote originated through a conversation I had with someone that was kind of second guessing decisions that they were making. And I'll leave it from there. The quote, and it'll be delivered from our one and only, the voice, Mr. Otis Spencer.
The only time criticism matters is if you are attached to the source of criticism.
The only time criticism matters if you are personally attached to the source of criticism. Chris Everett, since you're the famous one, all right, and she's out there, hope everyone's doing well. Unmute, and let's talk about this quote. How does it land on you?
Oh, good morning, everyone. Wasn't expecting to go first today. I know it's been a while, so.
I'm a Southern boy. Ladies are always first.
That's right. That's right. Let me see. The only time criticism matters is if you're personally attached to the source of the criticism. Yeah, that definitely holds true. It's interesting. People can be personally attached to almost anything that comes out of someone's mouth, where it seems like everything is an attack. And that's just because it's, that's their perspective. That's where they're coming from. And so this quote reminds me that it's always where you are. It's always your state of mind that, that is reflecting what you get back. So if there's a criticism out there, if somebody criticizes you and your thought is that it really affects you, then that means that critic is already in you, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Like that critic is already there. And I just want to also say that critic is a liar, right? Because the truth of the matter is we're all just humans, spirits having this experience here. And so any criticism is really not to be taken as the word of God.
Oh, you had to put that on there. I knew it was going to go deep. Where to go? I was going to ask, we've all been children at some point of our life, and some of us are like me are still children. We are refusing to grow up. You ever hear the quote, "The sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt you"? But do you ever think about, we've all been taught that whatever someone says about you, talk behind your back and whatever, just to kind of let it roll off. But when you think about it, if the criticism comes from someone in your inner circle, someone you trust, you share a dream with, you share a project with, and they tell you all that you're not and whatever because they're in a bad space of their own and they won't admit it, then this quote, when you say the only time criticism ever matters, if you're personally attached to the source, You remember that quote, Chris?
Mhm.
All right. So, a military man, you know, uh, Mr. Christopher James. We know that going through the military, I grew up in a military family, and in order to bend you to the will of service, they have to break down the foundation of where you came and then rebuild that. So part of that education is tearing you down by seeing how strong your will is in order to force their will on you. So with this quote, the only time criticism matters, Mr. Christopher James, if you're personally attached to the source of its criticism. How does this land with you, sir?
Wow. Until you brought the military specter, and I was going in a whole different direction. But there is a definite line in the military that sort of works from criticism, or let's call it correction. There's a motto we used to go by, and that was, criticism is great, but it only counts if it comes with correction. In other words, don't just say that's broken. Say where it's broken and say how to fix it. That's the military version of criticism that I undertook, or I became part of. But prior to the segue to the military, just purely that quote reminded me of two others. Well, one quote in particular, and another little axiom, I guess. There was a friend of mine who had a tattoo placed on her arm. It was in Japanese, but it said, "Only God can judge me." Now, criticism, if you will allow the word to be replaced by judgment, that carries more of a truer tone to it. In other words, yes, we all have judgment, and we all have our ideas of how things should be. But I like that one quote, it may be from the Bible, I'm not sure, but only God can judge me. You can say what you want, but all I hear is those corrections, those judgments from people I love, people who mean something to me, and that's been replaced with God. But it could be family, it could be a close personal friend. But then I go back to that military axiom: don't criticize without correction. And so I will say this, that quote is true. It's extremely true. It's extremely true. And if you want to live by anything, live by that. That is true. But live by that. Don't allow other criticisms, sporadic criticisms that come in and, as Chris said, infect your brain. Don't let them live there. Only God can judge me. Only the people I love know me. You don't know me. You don't have the right to criticize.
Criticism with correction. That's something I'm going to have to sit on for a while. I appreciate that share. Andrea Lyman, okay, in the front lines of all the action over there in Boston, fighting for the writers, the people, the actors, and so forth, whatever. Most people will call her a warrior, a champion. I call her a disciple of God. Andrea Lyman, if Otis, you'd be so kind to repeat the quote for people that just tuned in one more time.
You're
And
muted.
we are now listening to the silent version of.
That's right. It's a silent night. If the only time criticism matters is if you are personally attached to the source of the criticism.
Okay.
All right.
It's funny because when I heard it, I was sort of thinking the way Christopher was thinking, which is judge not, lest ye be judged. Because I was thinking of it the other way, personally attached to the criticism, meaning when you're criticizing someone else, you know, how people are forever criticizing someone, and it's generally, when you look at it, and we all do it, especially we do it with people we have no association with, but you know, we're all kind of judgy about various things. And that's when it does matter. You always have to step back and say, you know, really, I don't know what this person's life is, and here I'm all judgy about what they're doing or how they're reacting or how they're living their life, and I don't think that that's the way that they should do it. I have to step back and let you be you, that whole thing. And it's so easy to criticize others, and it is just as easy to embrace the criticism to you. I mean, people will say like wonderful things, and one person will say some little thing and it stays forever, you know, because it's personal. But you have to realize you're doing the same thing. So I try to be really careful about criticizing people, and about even silently criticizing people, because sometimes you're not saying anything, but your face is, you know, a lot of times, because people say to me, oh, you don't like such and such, and I'm not even actually thinking that, but they're getting something from my face. And I know one of my cousins one time said, oh, what's really sharp is when you'll give a certain look when I say something, and I'm thinking I'm not even saying a word, and I didn't think I was giving a look, but sometimes I am, you know, silently, you know, that kind of a thing, which means a lot. So I think the whole criticism thing, you have to be careful, and you have to work with yourself in not criticizing other people, and it's not just not criticizing, it is being open to letting people be who they are, and to know that when they're doing things that you find, I don't know, not right, that maybe there's a reason, not all the way to the offensive, because I don't condone cruelty or people being offensive, but just that maybe you think somebody's grammar's off, or the way they're slouching, or that kind of a thing, or they're acting, it's like, well, not the way I would have done it. But step back and don't. You know, somebody else is loving that performance. So,
All right.
and same thing with your own.
All right. Everyone's getting a little finger clap over there, whatever. All right. And it's amazing the way she drops these nuggets on you and has that $1 million smile on her. And part of this is like you guys as actors in a business that you are criticized every single day, whatever you're,
And applauded.
All right. And that's where correction may come in, you know, too tall, not dark enough, not light enough, you know, you didn't deliver the accent or whatever. And then you find out that someone got it, and you go, damn, I'm so much better than she is, or he is, or whatever the case may be, and whatever. And you never know what someone's thinking for that day. So Otis, the voice, one more time. And we'd like to hear how this quote landed on you.
The only time criticism matters is if you are personally attached to the source of criticism. Well, one thing that we all have to think of being performers, you know, you may go into an audition or do different things, and your casting director, whomever, your peers may criticize you. And we can take that as a positive measure or as a negative measure. You know, we all have room for improvement. And if they're doing it, sometimes people tell you things out of love. You can be in a very bad relationship, and you can't see it, and people will criticize you for that. But you were blinded by that love that you have for that other person, and they can see something that you can't see. So you got to keep an open mind, especially when it comes to criticism and it's coming to you. And expand, then going back, people that are close to you, they could be out of jealousy. They're criticizing you on a negative basis because they don't have what you have.
Yes, so true. And normally when we bring a quote, and whoever the host or co-host that the quote originated to or attached to, they normally go first. And because I am the host of this show, I wanted to make sure that I did not skew the conversation or interpretation or perception of the quote or how it originally came up to me. So this
Can we do Gilda?
Oh, yeah. Gilda said earlier she wasn't feeling well, but she hasn't coughed. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So since you pointed it out, Gilda James, how does the quote land on you? And you could cough if you want to now. We understand. We all
pretty much what everyone said landed on me. But what I do with criticism, I just don't take it as a threat. I just turn it down and make it positive.
All right. And if she doesn't make it positive, duck, because she's swinging the bat.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right. So the original quote came from a conversation I had with one of my Ironman athletes. And this young lady was telling me, she goes, the reason why I train so hard is because I'm constantly worrying about what people think of me. She used to be overweight before she started to compete as an Ironman athlete. And she has surrounded herself with friends that she was learning on how to be an athlete. And she says, the reason why I fall back all the time is that I'm afraid. And I said, afraid of what? She goes, well, if I don't do well and whatever, people are going to say things about me, whatever. And I said, well, what does it matter? And I started to think about the only time criticism has ever personally hurt me is because of someone I was personally attached to, someone that I had allowed in my inner circle, someone I was close to, my kids, my brothers and sisters, you guys, whatever. Because even though I say that your critics are not always right, but sometimes your critics are not always wrong. And you've got to do that as being a student of life. And so part of the conversation, I said, criticism only matters if it comes from a source that you're personally attached to. And at the same time, I watched a clip of Deion Sanders. He just beat TCU the first game. When he went to Jackson State, everyone said all that Deion wasn't or whatever. And these are all people that did not know him. And I listened to him speak over and over to his team at Jackson State and now at Colorado University. And he's telling them what those people say about you, whatever doesn't matter. Your actions support the conversations. People will steal your dreams. People will derail you from your dreams if you allow it to be in. Your own family members will push you to the curb and give you a hand to help you out and push you back again. But you also have to realize, Tyler Perry, has been criticized by melanated people more for what he has done in the film industry, his films and so forth. And if you look at it, he's probably made more millionaires out of people that are of color than anybody else. But you never hear anyone talk about Adam Sandler and how he makes his film and how he constantly has the same people in his films or whatever. But when we do it, we get criticized. And I know for us as Black people, we all cringe when we hear a report on the 6 o'clock news. And I know I do it. The first thing I said, please don't be Black, no matter what it is, and if it hadn't been for a president before, I didn't mind the news because it became my Saturday Night Live, my Monday Night Live, my Tuesday Night Live, or whatever, because it was a constant source of humor for me. But I am most vulnerable to the people I'm surrounded by when it comes to criticism. Although they may not be right, their words, their thoughts, like you guys, seems to get a little heavy with me sometimes. And I think about it a lot more. I put my artwork out there for the first time. And I said, this is the first time that I've ever showed my artwork to the public. And I said, I'm open myself to criticism, but I'm ready. And because of the support of you guys, I found out that I was damn good, not only at writing the words that I've said, but also my artwork. I also, when I started this show, it said it will never become anything other than a hobby. Well, when I get a call that says someone in Atlanta, a production company, wants to make us a TV show, I hold up all five fingers and count one minus left. You pick the finger you want me to leave up. And I said, well, thank you. And that's good morning to you, my critics. So to our audience, our listeners, give it some thought when you talk about this quote. The only time criticism matters if you are personally attached to the source of his criticism. And the only person who's ever going to judge you harder than anyone else in this life is God. It's been repeated on this show. So it really doesn't matter. If you believe it, you can achieve it. Dreams only come true when you put in the work, the time, and you're consistent at it every single day. And that's what we all do. One day that each and every last one of us on here is going to have our name be on the top of a marquee someplace, either in this life or the next. We all will be stars because that's what God has gifted us with. And to our listeners, God has gifted you with a chance in order for you to be the star that you are. So do not allow someone to lower your star because they're dragging their feet on their own dream. Let your star shine and rise. And with that said, I want to thank everyone. And so before we leave, I want to personally have a conversation with each and every last one of our guests so we can introduce each of you to our listeners and share a little bit about what's going on in your life, things that's going good, positive, anything, projects you're working on or whatever. And I'll start with Gilda and Chris since they're a husband and wife team. Gilda, what's going on in the life of you and Chris? And put your hands up so we make sure that when Chris speaks that
we got a rally we got to go to this Labor Day, the 4th, September the 4th. And we're geared up for it.
What's the
The rally is the SAG-AFTRA rally that we are having on Monday at 10 o'clock. I think it's at Boston Plaza.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes. So right now we're geared up for that.
All right. Well, good luck at the rally. Chris, you want to add anything to it?
I was told to say something, and let's see, something. No.
You see her hand? You see that? Look at that.
I've got this bruise that won't heal on the left side of my body. It's either my wife, my mom, or my coworkers always saying either stop talking or start talking. That's pretty much where my week has been. Where it's going this week and where it was last week. And I was hoping that Denise would be on. Of course, I know she's on vacation. We had a unique experience as part of a rally. The flight attendants from American Airlines are on strike.
Yes.
And so we added to their festive group in front of the State House in Boston. So I was hoping Denise would be here so I can say, way to go, flight attendants. But yes, that's pretty much been my week. I see my name on the little list that the union has for the strike workers. And I don't recall being there to volunteer, but that's okay. She takes care of that for me.
We're together.
We're a team.
That's right.
Yay, team.
Chris Everett. All right. Talented actress, singer, writer, you name it. What is it called? Polymath. That's what it is. Someone called me a polymath, a new word. Does anyone know what polymath is? Polymath is a person with multiple talents that borderlines on being a genius. That's what someone called me. And I'm going, it's got to be talking about somebody else. But Chris, what's going on with you?
I can get behind that. Yeah. So for me, I am in the final 9 days of rehearsal for a show that's opening on the 15th of September called Break. And yeah, that's going to be happening at the Boston Center for the Arts. A new original play by Aaron Lurch. Sci-fi on stage is what it is. So it's really cool. So yeah, that's basically what's occupying my time right now. And, of course, the strike, whenever I can get to a rally, I make it there.
All right. Well, congratulations. And Otis, Spencer, the voice. You should be doing more voiceovers. You've got that voice or whatever. I wish I had that. James Earl Jones, stand aside because here comes the new voice.
Yes, I am your father, Luke. Yesterday, I did a online workshop with Judy Boulay, who came to Boston a few years ago. She did Hubie Halloween and Don't Look Up. She did cast me in that show, and she says she's got another movie coming in after the strike is over with Adam McKay. Robert Patterson will be here, Forrest Whitaker, Robert Downey Jr., and Amy Adams. So once the strike is over, she will be back in the Boston market. She gave us information of how she'd like to see your resume, your pictures, and a heads up on different casting directors in the LA area. And then this evening, I will be doing a voiceover workshop to work on my diction and other things and possibly do some more voiceover work.
All right. Well, congratulations, Andrea. Now, I want to say this, and especially to our listeners that are still confused, because we talk about the writer's strike every single week. And for those of you that do Netflix, Hulu, and all these other sources, whatever you may not understand, I want you to think about when you are watching your television, showing up to work every single day and being hired at a certain pay rate, and all of a sudden they decide no longer to pay you, but they still want you to show up to work and do the work. They want to pay you less, but they want to get more out of you. Think about the fact that they have taken your livelihood away from you just solely based on greed. So, Andrea, when you talk about what you're doing, please educate us more on where we're at with the writer's strike and where do you think we should go regarding the strike when it's over, and what is our responsibility as not only but people that are in the business.
Well, SAG-AFTRA, which is Screen Actors Guild and American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, so it's basically everything recorded. We're on strike, and it's a specific contract that we're on strike with, and that's the studios and the streamers. And several things that we want, like they want to replace us with AI, pay for half a day, and then use your likeness throughout in perpetuity forever. And we basically wouldn't own our voices and our faces. And there's also the pay, which is less, especially when it went from broadcast, which is ABC, NBC, all that, to watching things on streaming channels. That pays a whole lot less. And one of the things that they're saying is, well, we don't know on Netflix how things are doing. We don't know if a show is popular. But the perfect example would be Suits, which now is on Netflix, and everybody started watching it, and people are showing, the writers and the actors are showing the tiny checks that they got, like writers that worked on it forever and check for $200, actors check for like $20 or $40 and things like that for, a whole lot of work. So that's one of the things. We have a bunch of things. And as Gilda said, tomorrow at 10 a.m., Boston Park Plaza, we're all going to meet, and we're going to march to Downtown Crossing. And these rallies have been wonderful with the support, and this one will have all the unions because it's Labor Day and people will be coming from the Labor Day breakfast. So the teachers union, the airlines, the metal workers, everybody is there, and they all also SAG-AFTRA and WGA Writers Guild are sort of like the canaries in the coal mine with this AI thing, because that's coming for many, many professions, and the misuse of it, and what they want to do. And these are the billionaires that say, we can't pay you hundreds, meanwhile they're getting so much money all the time, and they're not the ones that are actually creating the things. There's been a big difference, not just in our field, but in many fields, between the CEOs and top executives and the workers. The salaries are ridiculous, so that many workers cannot sustain their lives, and their families support them on working the full-time job. You actually have more than one. So that's the kind of thing we're fighting for.
All right.
So come on, everyone's welcome tomorrow at 10 at Boston Park Plaza Hotel.
All right, everyone, please support Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA, and all working actors. Someone is related or has someone that has a dream in order to be in this business. Provide them. Every brick wants to be something. So put your brick on a foundation that could be a spectacle for others to admire and dream of. So the only criticism that matters, if you are personally attached to the source of criticism, is our quote for today. I thank you. I thank you. And as far as I'm concerned, I have finally finished my book, and it's going through the next process to be published. And I will be announcing when it's officially going to be available in all book sources soon. I've also put myself out there for the first time to be criticized with my artwork, which I'm going to say, no matter what you say, I did a hell of a job. So I'm going to break my arm, pat myself on the back. It's a first for me. I think this book is going to be it's going to be a game changer as far in the literary world. But the simple fact is very simple. It's only 58 pages long, but it says a lot on each of the pages. And maybe we'll share that one day on the show and just talk about your thoughts and so forth on it and whatever. And I'll expose myself to be criticized by the people I personally care about. So your criticism does matter, positive or negative. I can handle it from a source when I know the source comes with love. And I know the source is being guided by the hand of God. And with that said, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. And hopefully, if you liked what you've heard and like to be part of this show, go to RMK Productions .org and go ahead and fill out the information. We'd love to have you on the guest. We do nothing but positive. So don't bring any nightmares to us. We will stop you from coming in. And if you like what we've done, not only with Motivational Sundays with Kevin and friends, you can also go to our RMK Productions and Network on our YouTube page. You can subscribe and follow. Remember, the only way we grow, if we've got people that have a higher call to action, that follow and share the information. And hopefully this will become part of your everyday routine. This started off with positive. We all believe that, there is a higher power. You can name it whatever you want, but there's a reason why all of us exist. And there's a reason why all of our heartbeats beat to a different drum, but there's a rhythm to each beat. And just remember that. My grandfather always says, when you get to a place that you can help someone, it is your duty to do so. And with that said, reach one, teach one, and we'll fade to black, and we're out. Thank you, everybody.